Guru Sutra is not just a book, it speaks volumes and volumes of wisdom. On reading this book, we realize that wisdom and that tattva exists in each one of us. It's all right there, it's all within us. We didn't know it exists, we didn't believe that it exists, and this book helps us transform and helps us walk that path where we need to ignite that Guru Tattva within us. We need to read it, we need to practice it, and over the period of time it will transform us, and we start looking at things from a different eye. It enhances the entire experience of our existence with contentment, and finally realize that we all are gurus within.
Namaskar. Namaskar. Team Hingori Sutras welcomes you to this. Namaskar. Team Hingori Sutras welcomes you to this.
If I were to
conversation. Who is a guru? Who is a guru? Who is not necessarily a spiritual guru? Is there a need for a guru? And if so, why do we need a guru? So many questions, but the answers are so difficult to find. Today we will be speaking to someone who has played the roles of both disciple and guru. We welcome Hingori, the author of Guru Sutra, who would not just answer our questions, but also help you recognize the Guru in you. I now leave you to absorb the insight of Guru. I now leave you to absorb the insight of Hingori, after which all your questions, and I believe there will be many, will be addressed. Over to you, sir.
So Anjali, this is, I think, an interesting subject, at least for me. The reason is, I think the only purpose of my life, the leftover purpose of my life, is that I would love to share with other human beings what I have learned myself. And one of the greatest lessons of my life was self-divinity. And self-divinity can be defined in many ways, described in multiple phrases, but as we are talking about the subject of Guru, self-divinity is also about the realization of the Guru Tattva within you, which starts with the realization of the Shiv Tattva within you, and then continues forward to the rest of the Guru Tattva within you. So if we were to start by talking about the Guru as a person, as an exterior force, then I would consider this to be the job of a laundryman. Because I was given this assignment of mentoring people, and so I looked at my job profile and said that Gurudev asked me to do this. He asked me to mentor others. He asked me to train people. So what is the role that he has actually given? So I realized that the role was that of a laundryman, and a laundryman who washes and cleanses is different levels of consciousness. And the way the Guru has to behave, he has to be a multiple role player. And different roles that he plays have to work and alter different facets of the disciple's nature or narrative, or whatever you want to call it. Understanding the tahsir, which is the quality of each of these roles, and utilizing them is a very critical job for the Guru to play. In the role of a mother, for example, he understands your lack of comprehension of things you subconsciously or unconsciously know, but can't bring to the fore. So he initiates the process of relearning For example, just to give you a wild one, when Gurudev asked me uh, to set up a sthan somewhere, I did. And when I did that, um I found myself in the middle of the night or early morning. I found myself being attacked by a jinn, Djinn, I think is how you spell it. And this is the kind of guy who's like a chieftain of many ghosts and spirits around that area, and he's probably rules the roost of that area. And this guy must have said, "Ke bhai, a powerful sthan of Gurudev's will start here, and my sort of gali ke kutte ki kahani won't work." And so I found this guy sitting on my chest, throttling my throat. And I'm sure I've told you this story several times before, but it's relevant, so that's why I need to describe it. And I rolled out from my body, and I was standing in my spirit body and watching this guy throttle the neck of my physical body on the bed. Now, when this guy looked and saw me standing outside, he came to attack me. And I was accomplished in the Mahagayatri, but I had no clue. I had no clue of how do you use the Mahagayatri as a protection tool or as a weapon. But at that time, I knew how to do it exactly. And of course, this poor little guy got a few, WWF falls and a few strokes, and he ran helter skelter after getting a beating. But the fact that I knew what I did not know is the moral of what I'm talking about today. So he initiates the process of relearning. For example, he once told me, "Hey, beta, I know that you know all the Vedas." I was quite, it was very nice to hear such lovely words and all that, but I didn't know what he's talking about. I still don't know what is the Atharva Veda. Well, I've heard the name. These are 4 Vedas. What is the Atharva Veda? What does it stand for? What does it describe? I have no clue. And yet he said, "I know that you have the Gyan of the Vedas, so you don't need to waste your time in reading them." Now, that was an amazing. And I'm sharing this with all of you. I'm assuming that you will catch what I'm saying. And if you don't, you can re-ask a question and I'll re-explain it to you. But you, me, we all know a lot more than we think we know. So a mother teaches a child how to walk. The guru teaches his student how to walk the talk. A father teaches bravery, battle codes, self-protection. It could be battles with weaknesses, with temptations. A brother understands weaknesses and has more often than not suffered those. So a brother can teach you how to navigate and work around these pitfalls. That is the guru as brother. Then a guru as a friend can teach you acceptance through personal examples and experiences. A guru can actually have multiple rupas and play multiple roles. A Shiv roop, a Vishnu roop, a Brahma roop, a Bhairav roop. The list is unending. So we don't want to get all heavily into the subject of theory, but I think it is necessary for us to examine what are the difficulties a follower has to become a devotee. What are the difficulties a devotee has to become a disciple? What are the difficulties a disciple has to become a guru? A follower needs to learn acceptance of the unacceptable. A devotee has to have unquestionable faith, virtually blind faith. A disciple needs to be just thoughtless. Words easier said than done. The angle of difficulty in each of the above processes is immeasurable. Accepting the unacceptable. Wow. Try that for starters. He cured me in a minute. I couldn't accept that. He asked me to hug Badrinath and treat him like a brother. How could I accept that at that time when I was a kid? He said, I am a guru. At a time I consciously knew nothing about spirituality. How was I to accept that? So, to sidestep a little, it is the job of the guru to make his disciple understand all these things and to accept all these things and to live this and to walk this talk. Institutions like family, friends, relatives, these all provide a false sense of ownership. Mothers think they own their children. Children think they own their parents. You can't win souls and have a lien on them temporarily. So, our sense of ownership is actually flawed. The only institution, Anjali, where ownership is seemingly justifiable, and I say seemingly justifiable because I'm sure there are people who will disagree, and they may even be right. But according to me, the only institution where ownership is seemingly justifiable is that of the relationship of Guru Shishya. Surrender of the disciple and acceptance by the Guru provide the infrastructure for such a merger. Gurudev behaved as if he belonged to us, and we belong to him. I have seen how he he was quite is unpredictable. Like, for example, one day a gentleman called Amit, who was a devotee of Gurudev's, walked into Gurudev's room, but Gurudev was there and not there. He was on part and he was traveling astrally, and there was yours truly was pressing his feet. Uh, but I knew he's not there, so I quietly sat on his bed while he was, while his body was lying there, but he was not there. So I was happily, pressing his feet, sitting on his bed. And this gentleman, when he walked in, he was shocked. He said, "Tum Guru ke palang pe baithe ho?" So I just looked at him as I normally would look at someone who was saying something that I couldn't figure out, understand, or even relate to. So I just ignored him. And then he came and told Gurudev the next day or sometime later. And Gurudev said to him something amazing. He said, "Beta, जब गुरु और शिष्य दोनों बराबर और not बराबर, but जब दोनों में एकता आ जाती है, तो फिर कौन बड़ा कौन छोटा." I mean, that was just his graceful way of explaining it. I have also seen how the Guru can use your body and your mind to fulfill his or your spiritual assignments. For example, I remember after Gurudev had died or passed on, or whatever phraseology you'd like to use, there was a meeting of the trust at the terrace, and I wanted to avoid it. I wanted to avoid it because I hated the idea of being involved with any kind of, you know, kingship or, kingmakership, or I didn't even want to be involved with anything where seva was not the main purpose, but administrative stuff was happening. So I was just trying my best to. So I took my luggage and I went and put it outside the room. The meeting was on the terrace, so I put my luggage outside where nobody would see it, so I could quietly come, let the meeting carry on, and take my luggage and disappear to the airport or the railway station, however I was traveling, and make my way away, make my way out. So what do you think happened when I reached to pick up my luggage? My luggage was lying, I mean, it was almost curated. It was lying right in the middle of the meeting. So people were sitting all around, and guess what was the center stage? My luggage. What the hell was it doing there? I have no clue. But I do realize that there was a purpose behind it. So I kept my mouth shut. I stood there. I understood the purpose halfway through the meeting, and I fought my way to achieving that purpose. And I fought all the seniors of that time. And finally, everybody gave in. I realized this was not about me. This was about how Gurudev had used me and manipulated my mind to say the things he wanted to and to have those things achieved that he wanted to have achieved. Also, sometimes the power of Guru can be used to protect you, to alter your state of mind, to change the course of events in your life. I went to Nairobi. This is again a very old story, but so I'm not going to repeat it. But every day, something that happened was unbelievable. Every day, some manipulation of my life would happen, manipulation of events would happen there. And I would wonder, how is it possible? And I hadn't met Gurudev for 5 years. I'd even forgotten about his existence. But at the end of those 30 days, yours truly came back to India convinced that he was a bigger fool than he had even bargained for. I realized I absolutely not only knew very little, but I was quite close to knowing almost nothing. I came back and I surrendered my mind and my will to him, asked for his forgiveness. And remember, the power of surrender is very strong. It creates a kind of, I mean, if you want to call it oneness, then it creates that kind of oneness between the inner guru and the outer one. The inner guru knows the mind of his external guru will want nothing less for him than what it would want for itself. As a disciple, this has been my experience. Gurudev would stretch himself to create liaisons for us with superpowers like Badrinath, Jwalaji, Ram, Lakshman, Sita ji, Shirdi Sai, Augad, others. He positioned us at higher levels of the spiritual chart. He fought a daily battle to help us overcome the control of the senses, to develop intuition, to experience astral travel. He sacrificed his time, invested effort, and often repeated himself several times for slow learners like me. And he shared the most valuable asset of all, power. I had heard a lot about these things, but I was very embarrassed. I wasn't, I wasn't a power hungry. Well, later on I did become, but at that time, which I am describing right now, I was certainly not a power hungry person who wanted to extract power from his guru. So I used to just press him out of affection because I knew sometimes he used to be very tired. So I mean, it was like a common thing. We just go and, while he was lying down, we just go and press his knees, his feet, etc. And one day while I was doing that, I found him doing something very strange with his toes. So I kept wondering, what is he doing? He kept taking his toes and touching them to my what is it called? My hands. Maybe where the joint of my palm and my arm is, and where the joint of the whatever the center of the arm is called is. Uh, and he kept trying to, he was sort of twitching his toe into that part of my body. So I was wondering, what is he doing? And then I realized the man was trying to send power through my physical body by by sort of transmitting it through his feet. He would often transfer to us his own mantra count to make us closer to our mantra siddhis. My Mahamrutyunjay, I was very disappointed. Lots of things happened, and I somehow felt a little frustrated. Every time I'd go to Gurgaon to do seva, somebody would come and maro my seva. I couldn't fight about it. Seva is not something you sort of compete about, right? So I would get disappointed that these guys are so very strange. They don't stick to their own timings and they want to take away my time. So I kept bearing with that for months. And then until one day he called me and said, "So how is seva going?" And he knew he was just putting salt on my wound. And then he laughed, gave me a long and said, "Ja, tera Mahamrityunjay Siddh hua." How could that happen? It could only happen if the Guru willed his bag of Mahamatanje, part of it, to me. If he transferred that Mahamatanje Siddhi to me, because by that time he probably had 10 times or 100 times or 1,000 times the amount of mantra that he required for that particular mantra. So it was very easy for him to transfer it to me. I mean, it sounds easy, but he did that. And I did not even have to repeat that mantra even once. This is how he would sacrifice uh, his own assets to us. I remember Ravi Trehanji telling me once that he told him कि बेटा तू रात को 2 बजे तक पाठ कर लेना, 2 से लेके 4 तक मैं तेरे लिए कर लूंगा. His purpose, our higher attainment. So the Guru in me recognized that his spirit had a lot more going for my spirit. My consciousness learned to trust his mind much more than my own. He made the me the responsibility of the he. That is the result of surrender. The surrender of one becomes the obligation of the other. The mind of the disciple becomes the recipient of the manipulation of the mind of the Guru. And this is manipulation in a very positive manner. A Siddh Guru manipulates assent, detachment, cleansing. His will becomes your power. Of course, his curriculum includes testing. He will test your faith, he will test your obedience, he will test your qualities and attitudes, and your success becomes his satisfaction. Your failure becomes his etiquette. The phrase, till death do us part, works in Christian weddings, but not in Guruism. To the best of my knowledge, Anjali, the Guru continues schooling even after he has passed on. To give you a few examples, there was a gentleman who used to treat me for arthritis much before I met Gurudev. He was called Mr. Marchand, and he was a Parsi gentleman. Never used to charge any money, and he used to have this little, Britannia old box of biscuits with all kinds of cuts in them, and there were jalis, and there were this ABCD and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which was basically converted into a planchette box, and he used to do the planchette, and then according to the whatever information he got from the planchette, he would give me homeopathic medicine. So one day, after I got healed by Gurudev, I went to him and I went to thank him, just as a courtesy. The guy freaked out. His planchette freaked out. And he started talking to that planchette. And I was wondering, who is he talking to? And then I discovered, and he confessed, he says, my Guru is not alive, but his spirit lives here and it guides me on how to help people. And this is the way we do seva together. Then there was Sitaramji Senior, who after his demise took his junior called Sitaramji Junior from Dasua, and he used to mentor him while one was alive and one was not. The other example that comes to my mind is Budde Baba. Budde Baba used to often, get Malhotraji in his vision state and sleep state, and used to train him in the sleep state. And then, of course, Malhotraji was one of those who somehow attracted some very strange things. So one day, Malhotraji was actually in another meeting where there was Gurudev, there was Malhotraji, and there was Sitaramji Senior. And Sitaramji Senior was talking, and Malhotraji interrupted a couple of times. And then Sitaramji Senior took a yog dand. That's one of those tea-looking things that sadhus often use to put under their armpits, etc. So he took this yog dand and he hit him on the back in the dream state to just teach him to have his manners. So Malhotraji got his manners in 3 dimensions, because when he woke up, that whole yog dand was there on his physical back. I mean, beaten up in the dream state and proof in the physical state. Imagine that. So training in the vision state or dream state is very common in our world. Gurudev often guides patients and followers in their dream state. So do some of his disciples. When your spiritual guru takes you through various processes of evolution and enlightenment, your kundalini learns to ascend up the chakras. When it reaches the Agnya chakra, or the third eye, the Guru tattva begins to come alive. Actually, you can call it the Shiv tattva, because that is the place where the Shiv tattva comes to life. But it continues into the Guru chakra when it reaches the back of the forehead, which is called the Sahasra. It goes further. The power of the Guru learns to manifest, and one qualifies to become a part-time guru. The way when I'm saying part-time guru, it's not because he has some other work to do, but part-time because the Kundalini force oscillates, and therefore it is sometimes at the level of guru, and sometimes it is not. Gurudev actually hinted to me, and that is why today all I do is talk about this subject. He hinted to me the advanced practice of self-worship. How did he hint this? One day I was sitting in his room. I was always sitting in his room when I could help it. Even when he was getting ready, I was watching him get ready. It was like one of those, it was like a little puppy dog, watching his master at play. And so I was watching him, and he was looking for his own photographs. I was wondering, what is he looking for his own photographs? Then he took one of his small photographs lying inside, put it in his pocket. I said, Gurudev, आप अपनी photograph अपने pocket में डाल रहे हैं? He says, हाँ बेटा, मुझे एक बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण केस है, थोड़ा complicated केस है, इसलिए मैं अपने आप को साथ ले जा रहा हूँ. Now, what would that mean to any normal human being? So bewildered I was, but then later on I discovered he was taking his different roop along. So the grahastha ashram roop, the office man, was taking the guru roop along. The same thing happened with John, the guy who, I sort of, I didn't know how to deal with him. He was one of those aggressive types. So I asked him to light a candle to himself, and he was given 3 to 6 months by the doctors. And finally, the guy survived for at least 30 years. Now, I haven't had any information about him in the last 7 to 10 years. But till about 7, 8 years back, he was still alive and kicking. Then recently, Hamsadhir was giving a small training program. There's a lady called Geeta Soni, and Hamsa said to her, she said, Geeta, why don't you look at yourself in the mirror, worship yourself in the mirror, and then ask yourself to heal you? I am not recommending this to all of you, for God's sake. Statutory warning, I am not recommending this. But for Geeta Soni, it worked. And she healed her shoulder. So the difficulty of practice is staying more on the higher floors of the inner self rather than on the lower ones, which means higher levels and higher chakras. Once enlivened, the guru within will guide its outer consciousness. It will help with clearing the obstacle courses of the senses. It will help navigate the speed breakers of lower levels of thinking and qualities. It will lessen the weight and permit the rise of consciousness. The collaboration of the guru with the guru within is the secret of Guruism. So please learn it. Obedience to the guru within helps speed the process. So please learn to practice it. And with that, I come to the end of what I had in mind to talk to you about. If there are some questions, I'd be very happy to answer them. But my purpose of life, and I have no other reason to live, is very simple. Can I help so many people recognize the divinity within themselves. That's a very nice graphic I can see on the screen, Anjali. He lights the divine flame that you nurture with devotion. In time, your every atom knows you're not a wave, but the eternal ocean. I think it's beautifully put. So that's where I hang my boots.
Not yet, because we have a few questions here. And if I may, there's a question here that we received saying that very often, your family follows a guru for generations, and somewhere down the line, you meet another guru outside with whom you feel a much stronger connect. In such a situation, is it okay to switch and seek the mentorship of the newly found guru?
Uh, I mean, I don't. I hope I have not hurt anybody's sentiments, Anjali.
Right.
But guru is not a family property.
Right.
It's a one-to-one relationship. And you can't say we have a family guru. That means, what is the guy? He's like your service provider. I mean, if he's your guru, then it is his job to enlighten you. It is his job to take you to different levels from MNOP to QRST or wherever. He can't do that to a family, right? It is possible that the whole family may believe in a particular person. I'm not saying that's not possible. I'm saying that happens very often. But the relationship of guru shishya, see, guru follower relationship is one where you can have a family following a particular person. The devotee relationship is one where you can have most of the people of a family are devoted to a particular person. The discipleship cannot happen because the guru will not accept a whole family as his disciple. That's ridiculous. Because he is bound to that person whom he accepts as his disciple. That person, his liability at the moment and his asset at a later date. So how can he accept that with the entire family?
Right. There's another question here which says that there are people who, while we're talking about the guru not accepting you, but sometimes there's been a lot of confusion nowadays where there are people under the guise of guru who charge a fee for their mentorship. Is that acceptable practice for a guru, or should it be seen as a mark of ingenuity?
So, Anjali, I think we have to go back. A few lakh years. And if you looked at the concept of guru and looked at the concept of ashram and looked at the concept of gurukul, so there was there was a guru who possibly had some help, and together they would mentor, certain disciples. If you look at the Mahabharata, it's not a great case of guru and mentor, but it's a story, that tells the technical. I mean, it shares all the technicals of how Gurukul work. So, how does this guru fund that? Does he have? Does he do a business on the side and then fund this, or does he accept Guru Dakshina and then fund this? So at that time, it was a very accepted thing that the guru looked after you, gave you a home, gave you food to eat, gave you education, mentored you, and you gave him a dakshina, which was enough to sustain him and sustain him in sustaining you and others, right?
Right.
That was the concept of Guru Dakshina. Of course, now what has happened is with inflation and with the PE companies coming into place, and now this Guru Dakshina is also a valuation game. And so, if a guy is in the business of Guruism, then it's a question of, does he have 1,200 crores or 2,000 crores or 500 crores, and Does he make an ashram which is centrally air conditioned? And does it have a very good F&B department and a great housekeeping? So what is it about? Is it about five-starism? Then it's mockery of the subject. But if a person is mentoring you and he has to sustain his family and himself and his ashram, then I mean, Guru Dakshina is a courtesy that is extended by the disciple, not a bill sent by the Guru to the disciple.
Right. There's another question here by Pooja, and she asks us, if the Guru shows you a place in your dream, is it necessary to visit that place physically?
No, I don't think that it is necessary to visit the place physically unless you want to have some fun and you want to go and check it out and you want to, you know, you want to see whether it's exactly the way you saw it in your dream. I mean, I love entertainment of this kind. So if Pooja does, then maybe she should go and see it. And if she's not so much into adventure tourism, then maybe she should not.
Right. Now, there are certain, you spoke about uh, the the guru and the disciple, their relationship. Now, is it a fact that the guru finds us at the appropriate time rather than we reaching out to him, wandering and committing follies? This is asked by Naval Kant Sethi.
You see, I find this a difficult question to answer, not because the answer is difficult, because the answer is oversimplified. Everybody says कि गुरु तुमको ढूंढता है, तुम गुरु को नहीं ढूंढते हो. This is only in relative terms when it comes to guru finding a disciple whom he has to complete. But
Okay.
there are people who want to be mentored by him and whom he is happy to share his information with, he's happy to invest in them, he's happy to do things to uplift their spiritual statuses in life. Then it could be an either way thing. There are lots of people, Anjali, who keep a fast on Thursdays. They have only yellow things from morning to night, without any salt and without any anaj. Okay.
Right.
And then they break their fast at night and they do it continuously, 16 Thursdays in a row or whatever, some number they assign to it. And they hope that after 16 such fasts, that some guru will sort of hit their reality and become a part of their lives. So this is something that, so then how can you say that the guru finds all his, he cannot find his devotees and followers, all of them together. He can he can find his disciples and their disciples also, which is something that happened in Gurudev's case. Very often, Gurudev's disciples thought that they were his disciples, whereas actually he was mentoring them on behalf of his disciples. Am I making sense or am I confusing?
No, you are. Yes.
And I'm personally a witness to this.
Yeah. Okay. But I'm okay. So, so what you're saying is that your guru is the one who you're directly in contact with or uh, in an exchange with.
Okay, really go further back. Okay,
Right.
go beyond beyond means I don't know whether the word is beyond or before. Go before your birth.
Right.
So let's say you are 45 years today. I mean, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Let's go 75 years back.
Okay.
Now, 75 years ago, do you know your guru? Or did you just discover the guy 20 years ago? Now, if you had a relationship with your guru 25 years ago, it means it's a multiple life case, right?
Right.
So then how can you say that my guru found me or I found my guru? It was just a curation of a series of events that made you, bump into each other like he used to do. I mean, so many of us had the same questions asked by, "Acha, tu aa gaya?" I thought it was only my experience until we were questioning a lot of people during his biography time, and we found that I mean there were more than a dozen people who had the same experience as I did.
Right. So then, in that case, there are two questions here about the qualities that a guru looks for in a disciple. And one by Richa says, what are the guru's expectations from his disciples? Well, what would the answer to that be?
What a guru would look for in a disciple is a surety that he will not fail. I'm making him sound like a very selfish being, I know that. But also please appreciate that nobody ventures forth because they enjoy, they enjoy, you know, sort of entering into a state of failure. Nobody wants to fail. And I'm not saying that this is about success or failure, but what are the things that the guru feels he needs in a disciple so that his mentorship will be a success? One is loyalty.
Right.
It's a quality which very few people think seriously about. They think that just because they are, believing in a particular person and they say, hello Guruji, hello Gurudev, hello whatever, they think that they are contributing something great to the cause. They are not. Because this guy possibly has, or this lady, I mean, could be a guru, could be a man or a woman. So this being could have 1,000 potentials, right?
Right.
He's not going to choose 1,000 people to be his disciples. He'll be finished. Right. He may 50,000 people to be his followers. He may choose or he may allow 1 million people to. There are guys who give lectures to 50,000 people at a time. Maybe cockatoo lectures, but they do. So
Right.
this guy is not looking at numbers game. For him, a disciple is something he's obligated to evolve, to elevate, because he possibly accepted that assignment multiple lives ago. So what is he going to look for in terms of qualities? He's going to look for loyalty. Maybe new disciple. Okay, in old disciple, he has no choice. If the guy is a nut, then he is stuck with the nut. If the guy is a buffoon, he's stuck with the buffoon.
Right.
But if he's looking for somebody new, he would look for loyalty. He'd look for great quality of caring and of doing things for others. Like this is what Guru Nanak Dev found in Guru Angad. The guy was into seva. And so he chose him as his successor.
Right.
So he will look for those kind of qualities. He will also look for a non-political person who's not trying to, play one against the other, who's not trying to make an ashram into a place of significance where he controls things and that kind of stuff. He will not look for that kind of weirdo.
Indeed.
Good qualities. He will look for loyalty. He will look for someone who he has good gunas, less tamas, less rajas, more sattva. He will look for all that. And obedience. One of the things that we always find first list of criteria to judge someone is we test their obedience. I purposely ask them to do things which I know they won't want to do. And if they act nice and courteous and say, but gee, it would be, I would have loved to do it, but then I also give them my own dialogue of saying, I fully appreciate that, don't worry about it. And I say goodbye to them in my mind. Of course, I will meet them, I'll be nice to them, I will talk to them, it'll be business as usual. But in my mind, I've already written off that person because I say that guy is not obedient. If he's not obedient today, then if it comes to a question of need in some later time, could be anything. And if that obedience is not there as a quality, then this guy is not worth it, or this lady is not worth it. I demote politically minded people. They will never know I've demoted them, but I demote them because I was given the authority to run that sthan, and therefore uh, uh, that with that authority came the decision making power of who gets what out of the seva, and who gets promoted and who doesn't. And one of the things I do is I never promote someone who's politically minded. And one thing which I really can't stand is people who want glory and they do seva in order to attain significance. And they want to be revered and they want to be respected and they want to have their feet touched. When I see people like that, I carry my mini scissors along and I cut them out of my life. They would never quite do.
Right.
I hope that answers your question as harshly.
Yes, it does, Ji. And there are a few more questions here. One, taking forward from the same topic, there is one by Munish Dutt saying, how to make the blessings given by Guruji perfect. What is the meaning of beta sthir ho ja taki tumhara abhishek ho sake?
Okay. Abhishek basically is the pouring of uh, the kachi lassi, whatever they call it, the milk, which they pour on a shivling. All right. फिर हो जा ताकि तुम्हारा अभिषेक हो सके possibly means that, probably means that if you do not have sturdiness, then that amrit which comes into your head, which is already there in your head, that amrit should envelop the shivling which is in the crown of your head. It's a symbolism that he is probably expecting. Tumhara abhishek ho sake means that you reach that level of the shivling within you. And that there are two shivlings in a man. One is at the central location, and one is at the crown of the head. When we talk about spiritual shivling, that's the one.
Right. Uh, Going from here, there's actually a question on Guru Avelna. Can a guru permanently disown a disciple if the disciple has wronged or cheated his guru?
Can a guru permanently mean, does he need permission? Does he, or is it like accepted norm?
I think that's what he means. He's saying, is it possible that a guru can permanently disown a disciple if the disciple has wronged or cheated or been his guru?
Yeah, of course he can. Why can't he? Like, is there a law, SOP manual for gurus? I don't think so. I don't think there's a manual which says you have to give him a chance to say no 3 times, or insult you 3 times, or cheat you 3 times. Like Peter will deny me 3 times, will deny me. That was how Jesus put it. And of course, he forgave him. But that doesn't mean everybody would, right, Anjali? Like there are so many cases. If you look at, if you go on the podcast on Gurudev, there's that lady who forgave her. And every time she had a child, or pregnancy rather, in the 4th month, the pregnancy would fall because she had insulted. She refused to give him 1 rupee. I'm talking about some 55, 60, 50, 55 years or 60 years back. She refused to give him only his transport out back from her house. Can you imagine? A woman like that deserved this. And then she came to Gurudev, and Gurudev said, no, I don't know anybody who does seva here. Then again she went, and again she came back. And then this time Gurudev had to do it. That Guru came and he burnt the stan in Gurgaon. I mean, he didn't burn the stan as in burnt the stan, but fire caught there. Gurudev had to take away the photographs and clean them and re-put them back and put out the fire. And that Guru came and fought with Gurudev and said, how can you help her? She has done this to me. So Gurudev said, look, I can't somebody who comes to my doorstep. What do? He said, okay, then you send her back to me to take forgiveness from me, which he did. And he gave her some instructions which he did not follow at that time. So that child again got sort of had a miscarriage again. So was this Guru justified? I don't know. Was he wrong? I don't know. I mean, imagine somebody not giving you 1 rupee. You bless them with a child. They've had a child. You come all the way to see a child. The husband of that lady was so grateful to him, and this lady was probably a mean machine. So why should that Guru not write her off for life? He should, unless he wants to showcase forgiveness as a quality.
Right. So, what would Guru Avelna be?
It is letting down your Guru. It doesn't mean, I mean, Guru Avelna is not about cheating you. Cheating him, how?
Correct. Right.
I mean, doing business with your Guru and then you sell him something at 80 rupees, which is worth 70 rupees. I mean, that's not Guru Avelna. That's just shrewd business practices. But Guru Avelna would be, like, for example, I did that. I lied to Gurudev because I had given money to a guy called, I think his name was Nilesh or something like that. And he was the cook at Gurudev's camp, and he told me, gave me the sob story that his sister was getting married and this and that. So I had some guy, I gave it to him. I said, this is for your sister's wedding. Gurudev asked me. I lied because I knew that if I told him, this guy would be massive. Because Gurudev had helped him and told him not to ask any of his disciples. I didn't know the background to this. So in order to save this guy, I told a lie. Then I got into a punishment. I got punished by Gurudev because he said it was Guru Avelna, and then he forgave me. So that is a minor Guru Avelna. There can be major Guru Avelna, like Jainsa, Bade Jainsa. Because he saw a person who was a manifestation of Shiva, or who claimed to be a manifestation of Shiva, who came out of a Shiv Murti in his house, right in front with all that light and all kind of thing. And then he said, "My Shivu." So Jain Sahib also got very excited and got very inspired by that, and he felt now that he has become Shiv. And so something went wrong in the poor man's head. He was a lovely human being, and something he couldn't digest this kind of power. He couldn't digest this kind of realization of being Shiv himself. And so he said, "My Guru," he threatened Gurudev that "मैं आऊंगा तो तुम्हें हरा के जाऊंगा." I mean, that was Guru Avelna, and then he went mad.
Right.
It happened to one more disciple as well. And then there were other people like, a friend of mine who I like very much, who is expired now. And, so he was, I'm not going to mention name, but he was, Gurudev had asked him to come, and instead of coming to meet Gurudev as per the committed time uh, as per the ask, the guy was having a decent time, he was entertaining his mind, body, and whatever. Uh, and so he told Gurudev a lie, I had to go there. So the next thing he knew is he had a physical problem that went on for a year almost.
Right.
All of us were taught lessons of Guru Avelna. Mine was possibly the most unimpressive, but my Guru Bhais have had much more impressive Guru.
Ji, you spoke about your relationship with Gurudev. Is it possible to, to bhakti towards your Guru be without emotions?
Actually, Anjali, this was the final relationship, final page of my relationship with Gurudev. When one day I woke up in the middle of the night and all kinds of question answers. I was actually interrogated in the middle of the night. I was wide awake, sitting down. It's not that I was sleeping and I heard some kind of voice. It was actually a conversation with God knows who, and it was an interrogation, and it lasted some 10, 15 minutes, and I was asked so many questions about Gurudev and my relationship with him and all that. Would I believe this? Would I believe all that? And so I said, I don't care. I don't care how genuine my guru is or not. I don't care how great he is or not. For me, this is it. This is my relationship. Even if he's evil, I accept him as my guru. After that day, Anjali, when I woke up the next morning, my entire relationship with Gurudev had changed automatically. I had no intention of, going there, running after to meet him, to spend 5 minutes in his room. I'd just go and sit outside as if it had become a relationship of acceptance. It wasn't the it became something different. I don't know how to explain it.
Right.
There was
More, it became metaphysical from physical, is it?
something like very robotic, very clinical relationship, very robotic relationship. Uh, if you watch that movie, whatever that's called, Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever it's called, Robocop,
Right.
it was probably a relationship between Robocop 1 and Robocop 1B.
Mm. Right.
And his relationship with us was very clinical. But he did not show that. He showed a lot of love and affection. And he showed a lot of, he expressed a lot of care and love. But I could see that it was, for him, it was role play.
Right. Yeah, how does one disciple know that the guru has accepted him?
Doesn't.
Doesn't, is it?
I think in case of Gurudev disciple, I don't know, there's lots and lots of rumors that go around. And so many people would say कि उनके 11 शिष्य हैं और 5 गण हैं. This is a usual story that went around in the early 80s. So for the claim of those 11 disciples, there were at least 100 I knew, including me, until I realized that this is not the way to do it. So I decided that from now onward, my relationship with Gurudev is not that he is my guru and I'm his disciple. He is my master, I'm his servant. I mean, you have somebody who comes and does your cleaning for your house, don't you?
Right.
So I said, that's my relationship. End of story. What relationship he gives me, I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, I'm the what do you call it? The humble servant of this man.
Right.
And I never tried to be the first of the 11 people to offer prasad on a bada. I thought it was too competitive, or be one of the first people to have his Guru Purnima. And Gurudev was a master at all these games. He watched everybody's reaction, and then he probably sort of smirked.
Right. See, this leads to another question about spiritual hierarchy.
Okay.
Where it becomes really difficult. I mean, the entire talk today was about recognizing the guru in you, but it's really difficult for a disciple to break that barrier about that I am also a guru within inside. Yeah. So and there is always this confusion between you know your guru bhais and guru bahins, where you feel that the physical hierarchy is to be respected, So how does that work in the physical hierarchy, or the time when you've been spent with your guru, versus the spiritual hierarchy?
There is actually no such thing, Anjali. This is just a myth. Many people treat this hierarchy like the Navy does or the Army does. So if you have registered or joined the army at a particular date, then you have a seniority, right?
Right.
This is not a case like that. I mean, your grandfather could be born. Your grandfather spiritualist could be born much later than you.
Right.
I mean, look at how the Buddhists work. Sometimes the guru becomes the disciple, and the disciple of the guru becomes the guru of the disciple. I mean, this guy is born, and then he becomes a disciple, and the guy who was his ex last life's disciple trains him. So how do you define that as hierarchy? Today, if I die and I'm born, if I hopefully not, but I mean, today I'm unlucky enough to be born again after 10 years, 15 years, 5 years, 10 years. What would you be calling me? Would you be something like that, right?
Right.
Anna,
Ji.
what would you say? Say, here you give me a rattle or something, right? You say, "Dekho, isko ye khelo, ye wo khelo." You know what I'm saying? So this is what hierarchy are you talking about? There is the continuity of birth and death and birth and death. So when do you decide? When do you take stock of hierarchy? Before we were born, I have seen this before we were born. I have seen the pre-birth of all of us. Uh, and I've seen Gurudev there, I've seen all these monks, all that I've seen. So what does that show? It doesn't show that Gurudev was born like a little baby in a little town, and then there's a snake on top of his cradle, and then he went to this little school and he stole gannas and gajars and moolies, and then he went and he didn't do his education properly, and this happened. And these are all little cute little stories about the remaking of the guy who already exists within that little baby's body. Within that baby's body existed the Mahaguru, even when he was stealing, gajars and moolies from farmers, just for fun, like a little kid. In that little kid was that great saint, the Mahaguru, existed there. But the light had to come on at a particular time. The switches were programmed. So where's the hierarchy?
Right.
Let me to you, Dilip. Today, a lot of people treat me with a lot of respect and this, that, and the other. They think that this is what they should do. But I don't acknowledge all that. I'm happy to, shake my head and be the nice little yes man and put on this little layer of being, graceful and accepting that sign of respect. Do I really believe in all that? Of course not. I don't know. That little kid who comes after 5 years or 2 years or 1 year comes to the door and says, "Okay, I need spiritual help." He might be my mentor of say 15 lives ago. So how do I think I am senior to that guy? I mean, and why? What does seniority have to do anyway? It's a ridiculous question. Really. There is no such thing as hierarchy.
Right. So here there's a question by Raji Sharma ji. So when do you merge into the Guru? So when you merge into the Guru, do you become your own Guru?
See, Mr. Raji Sharma wears the best looking hats I've ever seen. So a man like that can pull anything out of any hat, correct?
Right.
But it's not a question he's asking. I mean, actually, he's very brilliantly. I'm pulling his leg because I enjoy pulling his leg. I mean, it's one of my life's greatest entertainments. But and if I don't pull his leg for 7, 8 days, I get a kind of a pathos running through my brain. And the point is, he hasn't asked a question. He's given you an answer.
Right.
It's a brilliant one.
Okay. So what he says is, so when you merge into the Guru, do you become your own Guru?
It's brilliant. This is not a question.
Yeah. It is the crux of the talk today.
Actually a quote. It's actually something that should be made a testimonial or a quote and put into a book of quotations.
Right. Yeah. There's a question, another question, which is going a little on a different topic now, is by Anirudh, who says, if someone has never met Gurudev physically, but he worships him, he gets all instructions in his dream state, then who is his Guru?
Okay, the question sounds very simple. The question sounds simple. The answer should be equally simple. The person who appears in his dream state and gives him instructions should be considered his Guru. But Gurudev was a great proxy man. Like, I am possibly the only person who doesn't know whether I was his disciple or not. I decided I don't want to live with this mystery, so I just decided that, for me, it was good enough. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so every time he gave me instructions, I don't know whether he gave it as my guru or he gave it to me just as representing somebody else. I don't know. And this person who is talking about the dream state, well, he's very lucky, Anjali, that I'm not sure whether envy is a great sentiment, but I would love to offer him my envies. I would love to offer him my envies like a bouquet of flowers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And say that, you're so lucky. So why are you getting into all this technical stuff about whether he's your guru or not? Just accept him that he's your guru. And supposing he's doing it as a proxy for one of his disciples, how does it matter? He never disclosed these relationships. I know that for a fact.
Right.
That whoever this questionnaire is,
Anirudh, yeah.
whoever, Anirudh is a very, very, very lucky man. I got a checkbook here, Anjali. Do you think we can make a trade? Ready to say concept?
Right.
I say it with respect to Anirudh.
Right. Yeah, there's another question here which says that, is it possible to have more than one spiritual mentor in one lifetime, but at different points of time?
Mr. Gautam Buddha the Great proved it. Mr. Gautam Buddha the Great proved it.
Right.
He had a guru, he had a teacher. I don't think that was his guru. I think that was his adhyapak. So there are three different stages of, there are three different characters, Anjali. One is an adhyapak, one is an acharya, one is a guru. And if there's a fourth, then my memory is not good enough to remember all that. But so maybe the Buddha had the first guy, I've forgotten his name, who was his teacher and the teacher of his cousins and all that kind of thing. That possibly wasn't his guru. They probably called the guy guru, but he was possibly his adhyapak or his acharya. And then he went to different people and learned different things. So I don't know whether what the Buddha did is a standard operating procedure or not. But this is how he did it. He went to many people and learned many things. And then he went and became his own teacher, did his own meditation for years, and then got this enlightenment.
Right. And how does one reach that state with the grace and the blessings of the Guru?
Reach what state?
Of the higher spiritual state is, I think, what he meant, Vinay meant.
I don't know. I mean, these are just very lovely questions, have very lovely answers attached. But the point is, if you are a student of Guruism, then just follow your Guru blindly. Because the guy has already done it before, right?
Right.
Do you go and question your English teacher in the KG or nursery school and say, teacher, why does B come before C? Why does C come before D? Why does D come before E? Do you debate about that?
Not at all.
You just follow. You just follow instructions and just ape that person, and just do whatever that person asks you to do because he or she has experienced it before.
Right. So now moving away from that, at some point, you've said that don't use your Guru as a crutch.
Number one sec, I have something which I'm interested in speaking about.
Okay.
I would like all the people who are asking this question to go and read a famous poem by Lord Tennyson called "The Charge of the Light Brigade." Not the question why. There's but to do and die. Into the valley of death, road to the 600. So if you want to reach a particular height aided by your Guru, then surrender of body, mind, and spirit is critical.
Right. Could you expand on the meaning of Guru Tattva?
There's nothing to expand on. Guru Tattva means the qualities of Guru come alive. That means your qualifications of a Guru come alive. How do they come alive? They can only come alive if you reach that state where those qualities become opened up. I mean, I'm not being able to use the right word, but they get activated or whatever. I mean, that's what it means. When you say Shiv Tattva, does it mean that you become like a person who's a member of the Blue Man show in Las Vegas? Not at all. It means that those qualities of Shiv come alive within you.
Right. With this, I think we finished all the questions.
I was hoping we had.
But I'm sorry, there's another one that's just popped up. Priya Mehra here puts in, is it wrong to depend on a guru to guide us for worldly issues?
So I think the question has been compressed a lot. So it is not. So Priya's question is not bringing out the real meaning of what she wants to ask. So let me put it in another way. Let me ask the question on her behalf. Is it right to call up your guru and ask him which car to buy, which TV to buy, which laptop to buy? No, it's a bad idea. One should not be talking to a spiritual man about such a very materialistic and superficial things. Not at all. But what about personal life? There's a lot that troubles people about their personal life, their wealth, their health, their relationships, their wealth of mind, wealth of body. All these things put together are worldly things also, right? Attitudes, reactivity to people, how you deal with others in business, all that is also worldly. So is there something wrong in asking your guru about that? No, I don't think there is. In fact, Gurudev taught me about sex. It was a little late though, but even talked to me about subjects like that. How intimate can that be?
Right.
So there was nothing I couldn't ask him. Mr. Rajesh Sharma has been a very senior disciple of Gurudev. I don't know what all he used to ask him, but I'm very, very sure that he had a lot of personal discussions with Gurudev about his own, business future strategies, this, that, whatever. I'm sure he must have, like, because he also treated Gurudev like a father, right, Anjali?
Right.
So can you ask your guru what you can ask your father? Can you ask your father what you can ask your guru? Can you ask your brother what you can ask your father? So there are these multiple relationships, and in different relationships you can have different discussions, right?
Right. So what you're saying is that if you treat your guru as a father, he'd be a father to you. If you treat him as a mother, he'd be a mother to you. And if you treat him as a guru, he's a guru.
Yeah, I mean, but these are all.
I mean, or you speak to him, or you go to him with those emotions or that relationship.
I'll give you a very simple example, Anjali. We used to go sometimes, he would not be meeting anybody. So
Right.
के बॉम्बे से आए हैं, इनसे नहीं, अभी मैं नहीं मिल सकता। कहते आपका बेटा है, आपसे बात करना चाहता है, इसे भेज दे। Simple. Just a change of relationship and change of result. My wife came to meet him once, and
Right.
same thing happened. I sent a message, and he said, "नहीं बेटा, मैं औरतों को नहीं मिलता." So then I had learned these tricks. No, I had a nice and naughty teacher also. So I sent a message saying कि आपकी बहू नहीं, आपकी बेटी मिलने आई है. So in 1 second the door opens, बैठ दे उसको अंदर. So it is a question of what chord you are striking, what color is matching with what color, and what relationship is being placed with what relationship is a match.
Right. Right. Okay, and the last question of the evening by Gita. Gita asks, how can a disciple be blessed with Guru Charan practice?
I don't understand the word practice. Attainment of Guru Charan I can understand, but practice means what? I'm not able.
I guess the practice to attain Guru Charan.
Okay. So Anjali, this happens when you reach that Guru Tattva ka beginning point. That's your third eye. Somebody will call it Shiv Tattva, so whatever. I mean, but we are not getting into the theory of all that. But when you reach that higher echelon of sort of oscillation, uh, then you have attained your Guru Charan. Now, in my case, what happened was there were two people. One was a gentleman by the name of Sant Lalji, and there was me, and there was a lady called Indu, who was one of the greatest women I've ever known. So I was in a state of, I was doing my part, and suddenly just went into a kind of a trance of some sort. And then the next thing I do is I see there's a white, like a cauldron of Amrit, and Indu is giving that Amrit to Santlalji and to me and saying, "Ye aapke Guru Charan ki prapti hai." I mean, it's very symbolic. It has nothing to do with feet. It has nothing to do with Gurudev being there and saying, "Welcome into my parlor," or anything like that. It was just as simple as that. So I thought maybe it's just conjecture, right?
Right.
So I caught hold of Santlalji one day on the terrace in about a month or so, or a month and a half after that. And I said, "Congratulations." He said, "Kis baat ke liye?" And I said, "Aapki Guru Charan ki prapti ke liye." He was shocked out of his wits. He said, "Tenu kisne bataya?" मैंने कहा मतलब? He says, नहीं ये तो गुरुदेव और मेरे को ही सिर्फ पता है, तेरे को कैसे पता? ऐसे अभी संतलाल जी, हम बॉम्बे से आते हैं ना, तो थोड़े हैं. Dumb nonsense or the other, I must have told him, because how could I explain to him what I saw? I mean, it was a little too much of, so I just didn't want to share all that. So I'm saying this Guru Charan ki Prapti is actually, I mean, it might be for others, but for me, it was a very simple, symbolic gesture of recognition, saying that this has happened.
Right. Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
has.
Yes. नहीं, आप बताएं.
I said it's been lovely talking to all of you.
Yes, see. Thank you so much. And with your permission, you did speak about Gurudev propagating self-worship.
Yes.
It's one of the ways of looking, being able to recognize the Guru within. So with your permission, I'd like to play the poem that you've written, which would be printed, of course, in our book, which is going to come soon, Atma Sutra, the second edition. But we would just like to play that video for our audience before we end the session today.
Just send me a check of 13.5 crores, Anjali, and you're fine to do what you like.
Sure, sir. Would be that. So with this, dear audience, we're just going to be playing this beautiful poem and hope it helps you practice and ignite the learnings of today. And also for, if you'd like to know a lot more about the Guru-Shishya relationship and who's a Guru and who should be a Guru and who's a disciple, please do read the book Guru Sutra. Yeah. Please do read the book Guru Sutra. It is, I mean, if you'd like a digital copy, it's on almost most sites or aggregators available in a digital copy. If you'd like to read it in a hard copy, you could get it from Amazon or from our site, www.hingorisutras.in. And now for you, we play I Am by Hingori.
I am the God to whom we all pray. I am the God to whom we all pray, though I may not know of it today. I am the creator of this universe immense, though of it I can hardly make any sense. I am above truth beyond the lies, though I don't know how to feel it, despite several tries. I am all, tattva masi they say, though I can't sense it, there must be a way. I believe faith will take me to the other shore. Universal love and empathy will make me self-adore. When finally Maya gets a real pounding, my intuitive awareness will find grounding. The truth I will see and reality feel. I repeat, the truth I will see and reality feel. My God in the mirror will finally unpeel. Now worship the me or worship thee. Let enlightenment happen and showcase the we. Let enlightenment happen and showcase the we.
And with this, we'd like to end the session today. Thank you, dear audience. And let me repeat again that if you'd like to read any of our books, any of the Hingori Sutras books in a digital copy, they're available on practically all the aggregators online, and they're available for free. So please do download the books and to read it. But if you prefer a hard copy, then they're available on Amazon or on our site, www.hingorisutras.in. With that, good night, Shubhratri. See you in a fortnight again.